My name is Hollie Thompson. I'm a student recruitment and outreach officer at the University of Gloucestershire, and one of the main areas that I look after is the School of Natural and Social Sciences. So this morning I'm going to be giving you an introduction to studying social sciences at university. We're going to think about what are social sciences and what kind of courses come under that umbrella. We're also going to think about some of the factors that might affect your decision about where to study a social science course. And I'm also going to talk a bit about transferable skills and also the kind of careers that students on social sciences courses typically go on to. So just a very brief introduction to where I work. So I work at the University of Gloucestershire. We are based in the heart of the Cotswolds. You can see us on the map there. We're split across campuses in Cheltenham and in Gloucester, and are quite close by to cities like Birmingham and Bristol. So let's start off by thinking what are natural sciences and what are social sciences. So on one side you have natural sciences. Now these are the subjects that are all about understanding the natural world around us. So this is subjects such as chemistry, physics, biology, and also ecology. And then on the other side we have social sciences. So this is the study of society and social relationships. So typically includes subjects such as these ones. These aren't all of the social sciences subjects out there. I would encourage you to go off and have a look for yourself. You will find more than the ones I've listed on here. Just to give you an idea of how many courses there are out there, I had a little look on UCAS, and for psychology there are 1,794 different courses that include psychology across the UK, and for sociology there's 1,274 different courses that include sociology in the UK. So there are so many, so I would suggest going onto UCAS and having a bit more of a look at them. So I'm just going to touch on each of these and just kind of give you a little idea about what they are. I've also popped at the bottom of the slide some really useful links that you can go to find out a little bit more about that subject area. So I know we've got a speaker talking about psychology, but I'm very briefly just going to mention it. So some of you might already be studying this right now. This is the study of mind and how it dictates and influences behaviour. And there's many different fields to psychology as well. So this could include educational psychology, health psychology, and clinical psychology. There is also forensic psychology as well. And I just wanted to demonstrate how you are able to study a subject that is more specific within kind of a broader subject. So if you know you're interested in forensic psychology, then you are able to go and study that straight away as a course. Sociology is another example of a social science, probably the first one that might come into your head when I say social sciences. And some of you might be studying this right now as well. Now, this is the study of society, so what people do and why they do it, looking at kind of subject areas such as inequality, democracy, citizenship, and also how the media are represented as well. There's also criminology as well. That's another example of a social science. Might not be the type of subject that you have studied before. This is the study of crime, looking at anything from forensic investigation to the impact of crime on a society or on individuals themselves, and also policing in the community as well. Talking of policing, you are able to study a course in professional policing. This is one of the 3 different routes into policing. If you want to find out more about the routes, I would suggest going to the link at the bottom there. There are 28 universities in the UK that offer a professional policing course. It's a really great way to get into the police. It doesn't guarantee you entry into the police. There are additional checks and requirements, but it is one of the routes to get there. Next up, we have international relations. This might not be a course that you have heard of before or you know anything about. This course is all about examining international political systems, how they work, analysing policy and decision making, and also exploring the nature and solutions of lots of big global issues. So for example, pandemics and poverty. Also got geography as well, and I know we're going to be talking a bit more about that later with one of the other speakers, but it's quite a unique subject because it really bridges the gap between natural sciences and social sciences. So you have the human side of geography, which is the sort of social science element, and this really is all about understanding the dynamics of cultures and societies and different economies. So those are just some examples of social sciences courses that are out there. But what are the benefits of studying these types of subjects? So there is lots of hands-on experience through these courses. So it won't just be studying in a classroom, you'll be going out into the real world and seeing how things happen in real life, and also being able to put into practice what you've learned in the classroom as well. This will always also give you the opportunity to network as well. So there will be opportunities given to you where you can meet people in industry, create different contacts, potentially have the opportunity to do internships or placements, which I will talk a little bit more about later. You'll also develop some amazing transferable skills as well. So these are the types of skills that employers are really looking for. So regardless of whether you go into a career in that subject area or not, you'll have some great skills to put into practice in that sort of career. And they do open up your career options very broadly, and I will talk a bit more about that later as well. There is also the option to combine courses as well. So if you're interested in two different social sciences and you want to study them together, or there's a job out there that you think would work really well having a degree for both of those subject areas, then that is an option as well. Some universities also offer what's called a joint honours. So this is when you pop one subject with another, and it might not be a subject that necessarily kind of sits in the same academic area, but would go nicely together. So for example, sociology and history, or sociology and English. There are also courses out there that offer a kind of a foundation element to it. So it's a longer course, but kind of gives you an opportunity to kind of build up your knowledge and confidence in that subject before you go off and do it for the 3 years. And if you are interested in anything like that I've spoken about on this slide, I would suggest having a bit more of a research into that. Now, I'm just going to touch on modules. So a module is a subject area within a course. And this is just some examples on the slide here. Now, you will typically find across social sciences courses at university that in your first year, these will all be compulsory. And this means it will give you a really strong grounding in the subject and make sure kind of everyone's on the same page. And then as you go through to further years, you'll have more option to kind of tailor your degree to suit you. So if there's a particular area of that subject that you are really interested in and you'd like to study, I would suggest you go on the university website, and they should show you all of the modules that they typically offer on that course, and you can see whether that's something that you'd be able to study or not. So once you've figured out what course you'd like to study and what social science you're going to study, the next job is to find what university you want to study it at. So there are many different factors that might influence this decision, and I've just popped a couple of these on the slide here. I would suggest, if you haven't already, create yourself a nice spreadsheet or a list, a mind map, where you pop all of the really kind of important things to you on there, and you can have a look at the university and see whether they offer it or not. So I'm just going to go through a couple of these and just talk about them a little bit. So first off, have a think about the location of where you want to study. So do you want to be close to home? Do you want to move far away from home? Do you want to be at a city university where all the facilities are sort of spread out across the city? Or would you rather be at a campus university where everything's kind of all in one place? Have a think about the entry requirements. So what grades are they looking for? Are they looking for any specific grades in any specific subjects? Also check out the facilities as well. So lots of universities right now are offering virtual tours of their facilities. So you're able to see all of what is offered to you online. It might be a good idea to also ask how much access students get to these as well. For example, this is the Crime House at the University of Gloucestershire, which our students in social sciences use to kind of put into practice what they've learned in the classroom. Also have a think about what kind of equipment the university has and whether students have access to it and whether you might be able to use it during the course. For example, this is virtual reality and augmented reality equipment, which is typically used by our psychology students to sort of study behaviour of different individuals in different scenarios. There is also internships as well. So lots of universities offer these. These are kind of short experiences where you get to go out into the real world and kind of get some experience working in a different company or different industry. And these might be something you haven't thought about before, but they are really amazing because they develop some great employability skills. So this might be something you want to have a look at and see if that university is offering it for that course. Similarly, there are placements. These are typically longer, so these can be for a semester or for a full year. And these can either be done in the UK or abroad. And again, these are really great for those employability skills, having a chance to go out into the real world and work in a company, as well as still coming back to university after that semester or that year. I would suggest having a look and see if that's available on the course that you're looking at, if that's something you're interested in, and also looking if the university has any connections with any universities across the world, because it might be that you could go over and study at that university. Trips and events are another one as well. So it might be a good idea to have a look on the course and see if there are any trips that they do, what kind of events happen. These probably do change year on year, but it's a good idea to sort of get a chance to see what they are offering and whether it might be interesting to you. So for example, this is a social sciences trip to a disused prison. There might also be overseas research opportunities as well. So if you are interested in going abroad and doing some research, having the opportunity to travel during your course, then have a look and see what has happened in the past on that course, and ask the questions of whether that happens every year and where they might go. Finally, have a think about volunteering opportunities as well. So when I studied at university, volunteering was one of the most amazing things that I did. Very rewarding, a great way to give back to the community, but also it looks really good on your CV as well. So have a look and find out whether the university, what kind of volunteering opportunities they have, and also whether there are any on your course specifically. So for example, this is Student Community Patrol, which is an initiative in Gloucester and Cheltenham that works alongside the local police. Cool, so those are just some factors that might affect your decision about where to study, and just some things to think about really. In terms of transferable skills for social sciences courses, there are so many, and these are the types of skills that, as I said, employers are really looking for. So for example, social sciences courses really develop your analytical skills. So that could be with data analysis and using analysis programs, or this could be analysing literature, academic literature, for example. Also your critical thinking skills as well. So your ability to solve problems and come up with solutions. Also develops your communication skills on these courses as well. So that could be written through writing essays or project reports, and also verbally as well. So potentially delivering presentations or delivering a poster. And also your team working skills too. So you will find at university that you'll often be put in groups and been asked to do group projects. And this might be with people that you've never met before, that you haven't spoken to. And lastly, your subject specific knowledge and understanding as well. So in terms of what careers social sciences courses go on to, obviously I've mentioned quite a few subjects, so there are so many different careers that they go on to. And these are just some examples that I've pulled from students that have studied social sciences courses in the past. So the only one that I mentioned today that's quite specific is professional policing. So that really does lead you into a route into the police. But the rest of them are very broad and lead you into so many different areas. Some students do decide to go off into a career that's maybe not directly related to their degree, but because they've got those transferable skills, it means that they are able to put into practice what they have learned in their university course. Some students also decide to do further study as well. So there is options to go and do a master's, which is a one-year course on top of what you've studied already. Or they might decide to go and do a PhD. So that's typically a 4-year course and very specific to one area of that subject. And some might decide to do teacher training, which will require further study and a qualification in teaching. So in terms of what's next and a few tips for your applications, I would strongly suggest going to the UCAS website. That is a great place to find out all the courses that you can study at all the different universities. And from there, you can go onto the university website and do a bit more research. I would suggest following those links that I have mentioned across the slides if you are interested in those courses, because that means that you can find out a little bit more about that course, that sort of area in general, but also it might lead you on to having a look at some really interesting research or some talks or some blogs, and it's a really great way to show that you're interested in the sort of subject area outside of maybe what you're studying at school or college, and it might really spark your interest in a certain area of that subject. I would also suggest having a look at what universities are offering virtual open days, because that's a really great chance to speak to those that teach the subject, but also those that are studying it as well.